bridge tonight. Voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air. Changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister Kate, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcia brings the heat. Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Thursday nights, the world will see. Black Power Media on the screen. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned. Breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics. Every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true. For the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Ancestral line.
Standing strong on the bridge tonight. We got dreams and we got fight. Voices loud in the city's light. Change is coming into sight. History told by scars and pain. Echoes deep in every name. Legal truths we must reclaim. Through the storm and through the rain. Thorough black talk of you. With Brother Tad, Sister K. Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah. Justice calls from open skies. Tis the fall, ain't no disguise. Marching forward, no surprise. Strength in hearts you can't downsize. Every voice a sweet refrain. In this fight we share the strain. Through the joy and through the pain. Bound together like a chain. Thorough black talk of you. With Brother Tad, Sister K. Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, Brother Blacksmith, and Sister Marcia will be joining us shortly. Boy, the heat is turned up in NYC today. It's like 90 degrees or something like that out here today. Insane in the membrane. You got to stay cool by any means necessary. So we're going to stay cool tonight. Welcome to Brooklyn. Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. You better have a pass when you cross that bridge. So if you come to Thorough Black Talk Worldview, you got the pass. Tonight, we're going to discuss Black music history. We're going to get into some of our favorite songs. So I want you to get your list ready. Get your list ready of your favorite songs. Songs that make you move, songs that make you think of loved ones, songs that make you think of a person, place, time, event. You know, we're going to get into all of that tonight. And, you know, songs of movement. You know, every movement that black people have had in this country, you always had a soundtrack for it. So we're going to discuss that as well. Also tonight, we're going to continue our discussion on reparations for the state of New York. The next hearing is next week, Wednesday at the Schomburg. So we're going to discuss that tonight as well. We want to see all y'all in the house next week, Wednesday. That's June 11th at the Schomburg Museum and Library, because these hearings are taking place and we got to let them know that too much is happening and we're no longer taking their shenanigans. Also, we're going to continue receipts courtesy of our sister Brooke and brother Devon of the U.S. Freedmen Project. Last week they mentioned some groups, some organizations, at least 15 he gave y'all, that did not return calls when it came to support for foundational Black Americans on reparations. But tonight, you're going to find out about 3 legacy organizations that are also in the trick bag. But we get into all of that later. We're going to get into all of that later. So without further ado, family, let's get to the stage right here on the Brooklyn Bridge, the OG Wisdom Podcast founder, Brother Tad. What's good?
Hey, sis. I'm in a house like Field Mouse.
There you go, brother. There you go. It's going to be cracking tonight. It's going to be cracking tonight. I can't wait. I want to see what everybody's songs are. What you feeling about this time? Where do you see music going? Anyway, we're going to get into all of that. Let's get our brother from another mother, our brother from another borough, the BX up on the Brooklyn Bridge, our brother Anunnaki himself. Brother Black.
Peace to the family, peace to the family, peace to the gods, peace to the earths, peace to New York City, including the Bronx. Peace to Queens, peace to Brooklyn, Staten Island, peace to Manhattan, peace to the world, peace to the world. Take it back, Sister Keish.
You see, always going too far. We try to give the Bronx, a little shine, but they like to take things too far. They can't help themselves, they always out of pocket, But don't worry tonight, family. Sorry about that. Our thing is changing here. I don't know. That's what I get for rushing in on the last minute to get things done. Let's get our sister up on the Brooklyn Bridge, Africans on the Rise, very own Sister Marcia. What's good?
Yeah.
Happy Blacktastic Thursday, family. I hope everyone is doing well. Brother Tad, Sister Keisha, Brother Black. It's a beautiful day. 90 degrees in New York.
Black today.
Say that again, sir.
I'm feeling extra blackety black today.
I know, with 90 degrees is nothing but blackness going on.
Yeah, I swear. I was walking down Surf Avenue today.
Wow.
And it just reminded me of being in Africa. It was so hot.
Okay.
I could smell the sand, the beach water, the heat. It was only cool in the shade. I said, damn, it's hot in the moon out here. It literally reminded me of Africa.
Nice. I was in Far Rockaway today. No, I was in Breezy Point today. And boy, was it pale out there. I was just like, oh my goodness, the paleness.
Now it's a cold breezy.
So that was really interesting. I really never been over there. So
isn't it like a movie set?
What?
Over in Breezy Point.
It could be. You could see some.
I don't know what part you was in. No, I mean, like, it looks fabricated. It doesn't really look like New York.
It doesn't. And it's lots of boats, lots of opulence going on.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it was really
paved streets, the defenses, the manicure. It's like, wow.
And I went down one road and I was like, oh, they don't like black people in this road. Jaquan was like, oh, why you always saying somebody don't like black people? I'm like, too many American flags and front doors and too many this all down up and down the road. And I was like, I don't know. Even at the beach area, you didn't see much of us, Right. I think I was one of 10. My family and I was one of 10. So it was really interesting, but a good day on the beach. Jay and I had a good time. Can't complain.
Good. Let's get into it. I want to give some shout outs real quick. Yeah. Sister Donna, Brother Kerwin, Alabama on the check-in. What's happening? Lil Debbie, how you doing? Phoenix on the check-in. AZ, what happening? What's happening? Sister Joyce, Brother Monty, Suffolk County on the check-in. What's good? Hope y'all staying cool over there. Rich, nice. Our brother on the West Coast, what's happening? Of course, we got our sister Farnessa up on the check-in. Yes, it's going down, sis. I should drop the link because, just in case y'all want to come up, let us know what your favorite tunes and all that is. We're going to get into it. Brother Lumumba, Philly on the check-in. What's happening? Kate Rush 409. Philly in here, heavy family. What's good? I can't wait for the call tomorrow. Can't wait for the call tomorrow. Cannot wait. It's going to be heavy. Sister Aruba 927 Doggy Diamond TV mods on the check-in. What's happening? Sister Amanette 2 in the Midwest crew. What's good, sis? What's good? Let's get into it. So, we have begun Black Music History Month. Everybody try to throw their stuff in on our month, Tad. You got the letter crew that want to throw their stuff up in here, but we may not be with the organization right now, but we forever, until we die, from the time we came out of our mama's wombs, we always will be straight, black, and proud.
That's a fact.
Period. Right. Over here, we are straight, black, and proud. We don't play no games over here. So if you rocking with the letter crew, this ain't for you. Roll it on down the dial somewhere. This ain't for you. Brother Ray, the BK Mackey History Club on the check-in. What's happening, brother? So, I sent the clarion call out to the team. We're going to talk about Black music. And also, before we get into that, family, I got some gifts for y'all tonight. Yes, I do. I got about 20 books to give away free tonight to all of y'all. All right? You getting 20 ebooks minimum tonight. All right? So.
Part of our listener appreciation.
There you go. I came up with the list based on some of the things that we have been discussing within the last few months. And I guarantee you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Nobody gave y'all 20 free ebooks. You understand? We did the research. We compiled them. And we getting them ready for y'all tonight. So I'll drop them after we finish this segment. So.
But hold up, sis. Before you go.
Go ahead, brother.
Don't forget to hit the like button. Talk to us in the comments. Gets picked up by the algorithm. Push us out to more people, so we can spread the good gospel. That's all we ask. Go ahead, sis.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to our new followers. We got about 300 of you in the last week or so. So shout out to all of y'all. And don't forget every Sunday to check out the OG Wisdom Podcast at 2 p.m. right on YouTube. You don't want to miss it. So anyway, getting into Black music, family. Now, I asked the crew, I said, let me know some of your favorite tunes and all of that. Brother Taz said, I got you. Sister Marcia, I got you. Brother Black sent me a whole list, y'all. He sent me a whole list of books that he recommends to y'all and a whole litany of songs. I think about 25. Am I right, Brother Black? Something like that. All right. So since he came up with the heavy duty list, we're gonna kick it off with Brother Black. I mean, I want you to tell us, Brother Black, why you compiled that list. You can run off some of those. Hold on a second. Mute you 1 second. If you can go through that list, let us know, why you compiled that list, and if you can expound upon why Black music is so important to you at this very critical time. Go ahead. You got 3 minutes. Blow.
Man, that's a heavy question. Thank you for the question. When I look back in my life, and I was a young dude, I'm talking child, 4 or 5 first memories days, and I remember the first song, and I don't even think I put it on the list, but the first song that used to get me to sit down and like really like recognize how deep music made me feel was when I heard the song strumming my Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack, the original one, not the Lauryn Hill, the Fugees version. And after that, it was just like I always had this affinity for music because it gave me something that I never knew I had in me to feel for something that was the first art I fell in love with. Music puts me to sleep, puts me in a better mood, gives me the oomph when I need a little bit of it, and I'm not talking about going crazy on somebody. I'm talking about like maybe working out, or you running and you need to make that extra quarter mile or whatever the case may be. You just get into that and become part of it, and then it becomes part of you. So that list was very special to me. Thank you for making me reflect on some of the things.
People with some of the songs you had on that list.
Okay, let me go to it real quick because I didn't pull it up, but I can find it in 10 seconds. Give me 1 second.
You got 5 left.
You want me to read it off, or you just want me to mention a few of them?
Just mention a few, brother.
Okay. The song by Curtis Mayfield, If There's a Hell Below. Lupe Fiasco, Streets of Fire. Sowing the Seeds of Love. I got a lot of rock songs in here too. So that's by Tears for Fears. It's not Black music, but I love them because they make great music. Hold on.
You gotta say it on for white music.
Oh, okay. A change
gonna come. No white folk, no Asians, no Babylon, none of that.
Okay, Change Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. Planet Rock by Soul Sonic Force from the Bronx. Say again?
Africa Bambooty.
Yeah, something like that, unfortunately. But I remember you couldn't go nowhere in the city without hearing that song. It was like the second Rapper's Delight. EWF, who's Earth, Wind, and Fire, Keep Your Head to the Sky, and That's the Way of the World. Heaven by Nas. People Make the World Go Round by the Stylistics. Take a Little Trip by Minnie Riperton. Time for Some Action by Redman. The Ghetto by Donny Hathaway.
All right, so we
and
got
Show by Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick.
All right,
I'm
so
done.
you got a few different genres.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know. Sorry, you have to be muted when others speak. So I want to know just from you, Brother Black. You gave us a great list, but in totality, what does Black music mean to you?
It's a bellwether and temperature of the times we in. So, all these young dudes, I don't like when people complain about youth and how ratchet, the hip hop is today, because it was equally as ratchet. It just wasn't as disseminated because we didn't have the internet when we was coming up. It's the same at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? But the difference is now we had our more conscious people, Public Enemy, Common, Poor Righteous Teachers, on and on, KRS-One. And, what happened was the radio, which is no longer an influence on music as we speak, but radio shifted. I was watching the Grandmaster Caz video right before the show where he was talking about how back in the days, when they had jams, they used to play all kind of music. But then, when you want to get with that girl, they play slow jams and stuff like that. They don't do that no more. We all from the era of the Quiet Storm when after 10 o'clock they play nothing but slow music. So 3, 4 in the morning. They don't do that no more. So now if program your own music on the internet as opposed to complaining about what the radio is or is not doing. The black music is totality. It's the everything that we going through as a people and then some.
I feel you. Thank you for that. Sister Marcia, I asked you the same question. What are some of the, favorite songs that you have, in your playlist, and why are they, your favorite song? And what does black music mean to you?
So favorite songs right now, I'd say it's the artists, it's the Commodores. I have had them on repeat for a good minute now. I'm listening to like Zoom. It just like takes me somewhere. Sweet Love, Jesus Loves, and I think I forgot about the Commodores, but when my father transitioned, that Jesus Love song, it really made me sit in a corner and was like, yes. So the Commodores is really what's currently, I'm in the garden, you hear me playing the Commodores. That's and I will echo with Brother Black, like the love music, the shining on people is not prevalent. And even I can echo Sister Brooke a few weeks back when she says the children don't feel love because they don't hear love playing in the house. All they hear is rah, 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 so that's contentious for them. And so when you don't,
that sounds like Busta Rhymes.
We getting old, Black. Yeah, how she mimic rap.
I feel like our elders when they was like, "What is this?"
I was over here cracking up.
Like, are we that old now? That's what we hear.
That's what I hear. I don't know about what y'all hearing, but so this is what is on my playlist. And in terms of young artists who is about this smoothness, I like what is her name? Oh, I'm gonna look up her name for a second.
But, you talking about Dolce? My Anxiety?
Mr. Marcia, you froze.
She froze?
Oh, man. You to look.
Black, stay out of it. Let her run her thing. You had your turn. Let her run her thing. Leave her alone. Go ahead, Sister Marcia.
Leon Bridges. The other day, Carl Thomas, Weeping Willow came back in my mind. I was like, what else? Marvin, what's his name? Givon. Givon is so easy. And the sister, she's Corey Gaines, Corey something. She's good. Esperanza. You got
Esmeralda Spalding.
Yes.
Spalding.
That's me. And so that's what I'm currently on a smooth and chill mood. I don't want to hear anything else but that. So if I'm in my garden, that's what the plants are listening to, and they're loving it. They be bobbing their heads like, "Oh, let's mommy playing good music. We're gonna grow for her." Um, and then, what does black music mean to me? Black music is everything, right? It like echoing black again, it's the temperature of the current times. When you could listen to music and you could understand the pulse of black people, that is very, very important for us. And what else? That's it, and I am, I don't know if we're just looking at black music from America, but black music all over the world can just take you, channel you into places. And like brother Tad was saying earlier, he was on Surf Street Avenue, whatever, over there in Coney Island, and he smelt like he was in the continent. That's what music do. Music places you places, right? If you're listening to international genres of black people, you can be in settings like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm in the marketplace of Accra or of Jacmel or of anywhere, Brazil, anywhere. It just absolutely takes you into a zone. And if you're zoning, zone well. Enjoy the black music.
Holla.
Yes, indeed. I like that, Sister Manira. We People Who Are Darker Than Blue, Curtis Mayfield is one of my favorites. Definitely, definitely. That song too was also a part of the soundtrack for the Black Power movement. Curtis Mayfield was pretty much the architect of that era and that time when it came to movement. So definitely, definitely one of my favorites as well. Brother Tad, we gonna go a little different. We're gonna go a little different with Brother Tad. I want you to tell me, Brother Tad, what song, what comes to mind lyrically, musically, that is, when you think of when you had your first child?
Mm. When I had my first child, we talking 1990. All right. I'm gonna say this because I'm trying to remember because I grew up in a musical home, so there was all kind of music. My daughter, what was I listening to in 1990? K Solo, EPMD. I was heavy on the hip hop, though. I always loved R&B, but I would definitely say like EPMD in 1990 with my first daughter because I was 17, little dude running wild in the streets. Didn't know what the future looked like, but I did know what my future wanted to look like. I didn't know what I wanted to look like. In my house, um, there was a lot of people. So there was a bunch of different music. And I'm gonna tell you, Doggy was always hardcore hip hop. I was R&B and hip hop. My brother was always reggae. My grandmother was gospel. My mother was house music, and my stepfather was Afro Latino beats because he's Panamanian. So you always had different music playing in my crib. So when I hear music, it always takes me back to that place. This is like we said, pre-internet. Even in 1990, I think we got our first real video game on Nintendo because we had Atari before that, but that was the mid 80s. So we would always play the Jungle Brothers, done by the forces of nature. Like we just listen to all hip hop and play our video games. So in 1990, it was for me, it was definitely EPMD heavy with Jungle Brothers and anybody else that was rocking. Definitely Ice Cube.
I hear that. That's one of my husband's favorites. Shout out to my husband. I know he's watching. And
Yeah,
healing. So
Big
I
Bro.
want to thank everybody who sent well wishes. It has been a long, serious battle, but he is on the mend, in therapy right now. So thank you for everyone who sent well wishes. But anyway, that's
Shout out
one
to
of
Big
his.
Bro.
Yes, I told him you gonna be on his ass as soon as he get out.
All
Tag
right.
gonna be your trainer. You gonna be on your ass. But that's one of his favorite artists, Ice Cube. Period. Period. But
Ice
anyway,
Cube is one of the greatest.
oh yeah, you got to give it up. You got to give it up. I want to know from you, brother, because I'm asking these questions differently because of our relationship, knowing each other and intermingling families and all that. But anyway,
I just saw Thomas the other day. My
Big
bro.
Thomas,
It's my
Big
bro.
Thomas, his granddaughter is gonna be going with us to a family trip next month. Next month. But
Dope.
anyway, now when you came home from up there and
Yeah.
you touched the town, what was popping and what drew you to it?
Murder Inc. was popping. That was '02. Murder Inc. was popping because they had Ashanti coming out. Nelly was still doing his 1-2s. Um, it was so much music. But see, me, Sister Keisha, I like what I like. Like today, I was playing Erica Badu's album, the second studio joint, Mama's Gun. I haven't heard that album. That album's about 25 years old. And every time I hear it, it takes me back to 25 years ago. Little, you know what I'm saying? Smooth and peaceful. Sister Marcia hit on some joints. When she was talking about the Commodores, it was funny because last time I went to karaoke, I sung Zoom. Because with my pops, he always played the Commodores, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, he was a funk type of dude. Like, I love black music. I was raised on it. And when she talked about playing that smooth music in the garden, you know, Sister Keisha may not agree, but my favorite artist is Stevie Wonder. And he has an album called Secret Life of Plants, which is super dope. And in fact, somebody named a documentary after Stevie Wonder's album and talked about um the music and the vibration and just the benefits of talking to plants. So Stevie was already ahead of his time with that, you know. So when you was talking about playing your music in the garden for the plants, I thought how beneficial that is to your crops because there's something called somatics. You know, the it's the vibration of what we listen to that creates shapes in sand and water, you know, things we really don't see. But if we study them on a microscope, we start to recognize the healing power of music. So when you're talking about being in the garden, playing the music for the plants, I said that's super dope. Because when I had a peace lily, I used to always talk to it and it would perk up, you know. And I think I'm gonna give me another peace lily. But my snake plant died. I was a bad plant daddy. But the peace lily, I keep
Look at
around.
Marcia's face. You know she don't play about that.
But you know,
But you know,
the benefits of music is so dope, you know. So, like Brother Black was saying earlier, because he hit on some super dope joints. There's music that I love and remind me of certain places, but there's only very few that tug on my heartstrings. And that was Ghostface Killer song, All That I Got Is You. The first time I heard that song, I was in the car driving. I'll never forget. It was by Long Island College, and I was getting ready to turn on Atlantic, and I was listening to the lyrics of that song, and I just pulled over and cried because I think that song came out in like '96. You know, in the Big Willie era when everybody was acting like they was born rich. You know, people they act like they forgot about their humble beginnings. 15 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment was really my life. Cousins and aunts was there was really my life. You know, so I never heard a song as authentic. Well, I did from Common Sense because he made 2 songs that was a tearjerker. The first one was I Used to Love Her about hip hop, and the second one was a song for Asada because I was locked up when I read the book Asada, her autobiography, but then to hear him literally capture that book in a song and knowing that it was a true story, you know, so even if you never read the book, you could listen to the song and get the gist of it from grandma's dream of her being free and everything, you know. So music definitely played a big part in my life, and it also calmed me down in times where I was, you know, because Black hit it on the head. Me and Doug was talking about this yesterday, or maybe even earlier today, how the music industry always practiced individualism within our community to the point that we don't even have R&B groups no more. There's no OJs, no Temptations, no Jodeci, no Jagged Edge, no 702, no Destiny's Child. They always take one artist and say you don't need them. And in our community, we see that individualism practiced so much. And to Sister Marcia's point about what Sister Brooks said, our children don't hear love no more. See, in our house, we knew love because Saturday morning when you had to clean up, Marvin was playing and Marvin was singing about love. Luther was playing and Luther was singing about love. So our house was filled with the love vibration. You know what I mean? But things is different. I didn't mean to get so long-winded, sis.
Good, good, good. No worries, brother. Go ahead, Black. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Brother Tad if John peed the bed.
Nah, that was my brother and my cousin. we ain't had no John. Yeah. I mean, it's the reality of Black life in the community. You know what I'm saying? Because we know bedwetting is an indicator of other stresses. And I've learned this from Dr. Amos Wilson's book. The first book I ever read by Dr. Amos Wilson was The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. I brought that as I was raising my children, and he was talking about malnutrition, the difference between malnutrition of qualitative malnutrition and quantitative malnutrition. We refer to quantitative malnutrition when we say somebody's malnourished. We think of them not having enough food. But qualitative malnutrition is they're eating, but they're eating junk. The dipsy doodles, the cheesy cheese doodles, the quarter waters, the sunflower seeds, the diet we had in the hood, the bonton
The
chips.
food, desert food.
Right. Food. So we full, but that stuff don't have nutritional value. And when we reflect back on our upbringing, because I'm from the 70s and 80s where everybody ain't had no money, but nobody really knew they was broke. People really borrowed fruit from each other. That's why All I Got Is You hit me so hard, because in 96 I had money. I had my Slick Rick starter kit. I always had jewelry, a few dollars from being outside, if you know what I mean. But we try to act like we was never poor. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have to share coats and clothes and stuff like that. And that was one of the realest hip hop songs I ever heard in terms of dealing with poverty that many of us try to avoid. And we know poverty's manufactured through this society, through this system. So it was that song. That's one of my favorite songs ever.
I feel y'all. I feel y'all. I feel ya. Like for me, different times in my life, there were certain genres that resonated with me. Being a child of the 70s, that whole Curtis Mayfield, Barry White, Commodores. I'm sorry, but every time I say the Commodores, you can't, certain things happen, you can't take it back. Forever, you cannot think about Lionel Richie without getting his head busted. Like you just can't. Like, it's forever cemented into his music legacy. I hope them white drawers is worth it. But anyway. So again, different times in my life, the 80s, of course, with R&B, hip hop, going into the 90s, club. I still listen to club music, dance music, all genres. Particularly now, at this stage in my life, I am more of a Southern blues, country music, old school. Some of these new cats, rhythm and melody irritates me. So if it doesn't hit me in a way where, as Marcia said, it could take control of my soul, I don't bother with it. Right. So even though Taz say I don't like Stevie Wonder, he is not one of my favorites. The reason is because I don't know. I guess it's the way that I hear. He has a heavy, lazy tongue, and I can hear that, and it bothers me. Certain songs he does a little bit better with it. I can tolerate it, but if I had to listen to him all day long, no, I probably would jump out the window. Same with people like Sade. Like when I hear her, I just want to commit suicide. Like she just want to make me slip my wrist. Like I can't stomach her at all.
Sister Keisha shitting on my whole catalog. Love Sade.
I'm sorry.
I love Sade too, but Sister Keisha could have hers. She don't like her.
I don't care.
I don't like her. Sorry. she just looks like olive oil, and it bothers me. Like certain things just I'm very particular, y'all. I'm sorry, but I'm very, very particular. Certain things bother me. So, that's where I am, when I look at the death of my mother. Um R. Kelly's I Wish gravitates to me like never before. Actually, when that song came out, my mother was a fan of it. When she passed, it was a heavy rotation, and I just poured out for hours. So again, certain genres, certain artists, certain times and points in life, it makes you reminisce of certain things. Now today, I don't know how y'all do it, I don't know how y'all keep y'all sanity, because a lot of it is trash. So unfortunately, and as I think Sister Aruba said, her son had just mentioned, 90s classics to her. I saw a TikTok video where there was, I think she was Jamaican, was trying to tell Black Americans off about getting pissed off about too much reggae music, reggae and dancehall music. It does not resonate with our spirit, but for so long. We can only take it in spats. And I can speak for the whole FBA crew. I can tell you, we can only take it in spats. Like if I had to listen to it every day, all day, I could not do it. I couldn't do it. Shut the hell up already. Then all of the words start mumbling together. That's just me. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, I have a particular ear. Certain people's voices annoy the hell out of me. So when they say, you never call me, I'm trying to be nice to tell you your voice is freaking irritating. So I can imagine if they were singing something, I'll probably have to, dagger them. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, certain persons I've dated in my life or what have you, you think about certain music or certain songs or whatever. That's why I asked Brother Tad, what comes to mind when he thinks of, the birth of his child, right? So, for example, when my grandson was born, off the rip, his mother and we plugging that old school to him, right? So when you hear a 7-year-old start singing Muddy Waters, then you understand why, but he's a calm child. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you throw on some crazy stuff, they start running around the house like they banging off the walls.
Yeah.
So that's why I know certain rhythms and melodies just F with our DNA, and we need to leave it alone. I'm telling you, certain music, certain genres of music started people as potheads. Certain genres of music started people as sleeping around promiscuously. Certain genres or songs of music make you want to ride out on somebody. You understand what I'm saying? So it affects us differently. And those who are in control of it economically right now, they always knew that. So Tad, that's why the separation was always there. Yeah. They're not family oriented the way we are. That's one of their biggest fears. And you have to understand that music is used as a propaganda tool for the masses. Yes. For those who are in control. So when I hear how you said they broke up all of these groups or what have you, they break up themselves, they break up their families. And then, like I said, their biggest fear is the structure of the straight Black family. That's what Thomas Jefferson said. That's what Lincoln said. And that's what several of your presidents said. That's what they feared during enslavement. The connection and bond of the straight Black family. We talked about it here. Yeah. So, go ahead,
I was thinking of something when you talked about the song that reminded you of your mother. I remember right before my mother's transition, it's just like the universe always put you in alignment to the direction you're supposed to go. We used to talk so much, and I was able to ask her so many questions that I wanted to know before she transitioned. But there was one song, and I told her that wouldn't get out my head, and it was by Hubert Hubert and Deborah Laws called Family. You know, everybody know the song So Special. All my love is all I have. They sung that song, but they also have a song called Family that just sings about family. And my mother used to always play it. And that used to remind me of being a teenager in the house, particularly in the fall, winter season. You know, when it's cold outside and you come in the house and it's warm and you can smell dinner on the stove and you like, yeah, we about to eat. You know, that just that feeling of home, you know, and that song always reminded me of my mother. And I remember I had sent it to her and I would play it sometimes on the phone, like, Ma, this song always gonna remind me of you. And the name of the song was Family. And it was dope, you know. So when you was talking about your mother liking R. Kelly song, I Wish, when you know, when she transitioned, for me, that song was out way before my mother transitioned, but that was like a reconnection with me and her bond as mother, and she liked to call me her firstborn. And I think when we get back to listening to good music, like this morning, I went to the gym. I didn't even do a hard workout because my body was aching from all the other days. I just stretched and I just put on Mama's Gun, Erica Badu's album. And Times of Wasting is one of my favorite songs because it feels like she's talking to me. When I first heard that song, like Times of Wasting in the year 2000 when that came out, I was all the way outside, fully outside. That led to me getting jammed up because I was all the way outside. But in that song, it was like, you got to make your money last, learn from your past. You know, she was like, dig up all your pearls and teach the boys and girls. I already had knowledge of self. I was already reading quick, crazy, wild books. But you know, the environment that we was in, the climate that it was at the time, the easy access to money make you lose sight and focus of your purpose. I remember one day I was just getting money. I was just counting money. I was tired of counting money, but I was like, I don't feel like I was living in my purpose. So even though I had the money, the Slick Rick starter kit, I wasn't living in my purpose because I knew better already. I knew what I was doing at the time was wrong. And it was songs like Jill Scott and Erica Badu and India Ari, songs that kept me grounded, saying to myself that all of this is temporary because I know better. In fact, even when I met the songwriter Anthony David, you know, who writes for India Ari, me and him had a joke about that because I talked about how much I love his music. And he was like, "You the gangster?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, because when you live in that life, right? And I'm gonna pass the mic back to you, sis. But I always tell people when I was in that life, a lot of these rappers, I didn't believe them because I was literally outside. I was all the way outside. I knew the real gangsters. I knew the real drug dealers. I knew people who was extremely active, that was on the news constantly, constantly. And I'm talking about from Brownsville, Fort Greene, East New York, wherever you from, Bed-Stuy. I knew you personally. I was watching remember NBC used to have this special on where they be visiting jails and stuff like that on Rikers Island. I used to see the little homies on TV, like, wow. Used to turn on America's Most Wanted, see the homies. It was like, but I knew my life was more than that, Sister Keisha. I knew my life meant so much more than that. And music has always kept me sane. On this last note, Dead Prez first album, Let's Get Free. There's one song, instrument. I love that album. But there's one instrumental called You'll Find a Way. When I used to ride around picking up money, I used to play that song on repeat. Because when you get in the game, you need the money. But then when it comes to abundance, it's like, now what? Especially when you know you got a purpose-driven life and you know you're not living up to your potential. The money is only a mask for that inadequacy that exists within you. I knew that I was born to be so much more, and the money wasn't going to fix that. So I used to just listen to Dead Prez, You'll Find a Way. It's a piano and a trombone, and y'all ever get a chance, just listen to it. And I pass the mic, sis.
I
Yep,
feel you,
brother,
brother.
brother Tad, that was a whole song right there, bro.
What, oh, you remember it, right? You'll Find a Way, right?
I'm talking about everything you just said.
Oh, true. Well, hopefully it go platinum.
There you go. Brother Rich Nice says, my mom used to always play Houdini's Friends, Freaks Come Out at Night, Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie, Nas, It Ain't Hard to Tell, Biggie Juicy, and Wu-Tang, Protect Your Neck, Sounds of My Youth. Yeah, my mother loved Lauryn Hill. For real, for real. She loved it. She created her own dance of some of her songs. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But Sister Filet, she says, Philly in the house, Stylistics, OJs, Delphonics, Teddy Pendergrass, Phyllis Hyman, MSFB, Jill Scott, Sister Slash, just to name a few. Definitely. That Philly sound is killer. That whole Philly sound is killer. Hold on, Tab. That whole sound is killer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you know, Dog is the resident hip hop historian. And one thing we would always say is when it came to hip hop in the early days, people could front, but Philly Ben had it. We had the Steady B's, the Cool C's, the ESTs, the what's my man Parks
at Nicholas One.
That's
okay.
And we was laughing at that too. It's funny you say that, Brother Black, because we was laughing like, what's the Nicholas one? What's my man PSK? Made Gucci Time. Schoolie D. Philly had the dopest, still got the dopest DJs, hands down. And they barbers was on point. The Philly barbers of the late 80s.
On the DJs, but go ahead.
I mean, we got DJ Scratch now. This is Scratch and all them, but you had Jazzy Jeff, Tat Money, Marvelous. No, is it Marvelous? Is Marvelous the DJ? Yeah, I think it's Marvelous. Or is it Cash Money? I know it's Cash Money and Marvelous. They was dope. Like Philly, because they had this thing, right, Sister Keisha, the New Music Seminar. And they used to have DJ competitions and rap competitions. And a lot of them Philly DJs was walking away with that belt.
I know. I dated some of the promoters. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. But you know, that's late 80s, early 90s, which forced New York to step they 1-2s up. Because once Scratch came, it was like different. Because we had DJs, you know, we had.
You said Scratch?
Yeah, DJ Scratch.
Oh, you talking about DJ Scratch is ill. He's one of the best ever. Yeah, he's underrated too.
Right, because I think he came with EPMD in the early 90s. Because remember, they had Caleb Boss first, and then they switched Caleb Boss. I forgot who their second DJ was. And then once Scratch came, they didn't rock with no other DJ.
But you know,
Scratch.
Just for those who don't know, or maybe a little younger than we are, the DJ was always the highlight, not the MC.
Oh, definitely.
Always the highlight, never the MC, until things changed when them folks got involved. You understand? Yeah. Because when you had the DJs not only controlled the community, they controlled the streets. Period. Because when you had a party or you had something going on, they was at the center of it. Period. Your DJ was whack, so was your party. I don't care who did.
Word.
I don't care who did. So they always was at the forefront. Dr. Filet says Black Music Month campaign started in Philly. Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But just to go through some things real quick before we move on, because we're gonna continue this conversation all month with Black music. I just wanted us to kick it off, so you'll understand where we're coming from in the next coming weeks as we continue to discuss Black music. Black music is the foundation. America is the remix. Let me say that again. Black music is the foundation. America is the remix. Now mull that over in your mind and then come back and talk to me next week. Black Music Month is a celebration of sound, spirit, and soul of Black American contributions to global music. This presentation highlights the roots, evolution, and legacy of foundational Black American music, including country, blues, jazz, gospel, soul, and hip hop. When I think of gospel, I think of the mother, Mahalia Jackson, period. That's like one of my, forget it. But anyway, and on top of that, Behind the scenes, she was doing some real work in the civil rights movement. That's a fact. Put her money where her mouth is, period. But nobody talks about that part of her life. Anyway, spirituals and work songs from the 1600s to the 1800s, born in enslavement, songs of survival, hope, coded with resistance, blended African rhythms, call and response, the Christian themes, examples like Wade in the Water, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. These laid the foundation for gospel, blues, and soul. Country music, the Black Roots, 1800s to 1900s. Yes, country music has Black origins. Enslaved Africans brought the banjo, an instrument from West Africa. Black string bands in the South played fiddle, banjo, and early country ballads. Artists like D4 Ballard, who was the first person to play at first Black person to play at the Grand Ole Opry.
Thank you for that education, sis. I never knew that. Wow.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna learn today.
Leslie Riddle taught the Carter family how to collect, arrange, and play songs. Today's Black country artists carry the legacy forward, like Miko Marks, Mickey Guyton, Kane Brown, Rashad, Willie Jones, and Reese Palmer, to name a few. The blues, late 1800s, early 1900s, the foundation of modern American music, born in the Mississippi Delta, told raw truths about pain, love, and survival. Key figures, some may mention, the movie Sinners, Robert Johnson, Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Muddy Waters, Coco Taylor. That's one of my favorites right there. Coco Taylor. Like if I'm feeling down and I just need that extra ladies, this for the ladies, okay? Try it. Play Coco Taylor, I'm a Woman. And see if that don't get you going through your day early in the morning. Coco Taylor, I'm a Woman. It's the answer to Muddy Waters, I'm a Man. Manish Boy, excuse me. Inspired rock, R&B, and even hip-hop storytelling. Ragtime and jazz, which a lot of people seem to leave out, the 1890s to the 1930s. Innovation through rhythm and soul, ragtime, syncopated piano scary. I'm choking here. Scott Joplin, excuse me. Jazz, born in New Orleans, rooted in African and blues traditions. Key artists like Louis Armstrong. There's a song that he wrote. I can't remember the title, but he was telling white folks he was going to get them. Very interesting song, considering he was adopted and raised by a Jewish family. It's very interesting, his story. You should check out Louis Armstrong's story. Duke Ellington, who my relative dated. That's a story for another time. Billie Holiday, jazz, which equals improvisation, freedom, Black genius. Gospel, 1920s to the 1950s. Church-born music with heavenly and earthly power. Blended spirituals with blues and sanctified rhythm. Voices of the Black church shaped modern sound. Pioneers like Mahalia Jackson, Thomas A. Dorsey. For those of you who went to PS 67 in Fort Greene, which is the first African-free school in New York, if you've ever attended that school, you know the Dorsey family. It was a requirement to know. Gospel inspired soul, R&B, and even rock vocals. Rhythm and blues and doo-wop. Peace be upon my Uncle Dragon. He was the doo-wop king. Ask Thomas. Now, next time you see Thomas, anybody in my family on my father's side who say they don't know doo-wop, they ain't related to me. Anybody on my father's side who come to you and say, well, we never heard of James Brown, they not related to me. Period. All right? That's the litmus test. Let me continue. Urban expression, harmony, and heart. R&B, the sound of Black migration and nightlife. Doo-wop, street corner harmonies, and vocal finesse. Artists like Ray Charles, The Drifters, and Ruth Brown. For those Cosby Show lovers, you know you should know who Ruth Brown is. These styles shaped Motown, soul, and rock. Rock and roll, the 1950s. Excuse me. Rock was born black, blended blues, gospel, and rhythm, stolen, repackaged, but the roots are undeniable. Founders Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and sister Rosetta Tharpe. And we know who ripped her off. All right? You should know what cracker ripped her off. But anyway, soul and funk, 1960s to the 70s. The sound of freedom, pride, and revolution. Soul, gospel, spirit, plus blues, emotion, black excellence. Funk, groove, bass, rebellious, and unapologetically black. Icons. James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, Parliament, Funkadelic. Hip hop, 1970s to present. The global voice of the streets. Let me say that again. The global voice of the streets. Born in the Bronx, that's a goddamn lie.
Stop lying. Stop lying, you.
You had your turn, Black. Your mic is staying muted now, just for that. And I have put that in there because I knew you was gonna start some stuff. So I put that in there because I know
you always starting with me about the Bronx. Every time you get to turn around, you do it.
I can't help it. You know, y'all ought to be starting with because you're not right. So, you know, we have to. But I put that in there just to give you some, you know, but that's a lie. Anyway, MCs, breakdance, and graffiti spoke truth to power in a system that silenced us. Legends like Grandmaster Flash, Tupac Shakur, Lauryn Hill, Kendrick Lamar. As a matter of fact, next week I'll make sure I'll show you some footage and videos from the National African American Music Museum of Kendrick Lamar. They had an exhibit where they predicted how great he would be. It's crazy. But anyway, we'll get into that next week. Hip hop is now the dominant global genre, but still rooted in black pain and brilliance. Okay? Black music today, a continuation of the legacy, not a trend. New genres like neo soul, trap, house, Afrofusion. Innovators like Beyonce, Anderson. I don't like them, but I know some people do, so I put it in there anyway. Black music is still pushing culture forward worldwide. So, in conclusion, foundational Black American music isn't just history. It is the heartbeat of American culture. From country to hip hop, from sorrow to celebration, our music has always told the truth. Black music is power, protest, praise, and poetry. And so
Sister Keisha, I want to ask a question real quick, if you don't mind. Or did you complete your point? Okay, this is the question I want to ask. We all remember the song, get this guy's Petey Pablo, when he made North Carolina, you got the rays. Remember that song? Take your shirt off and wave it in the air like a helicopter. That one. Now I don't know if y'all remember because it was so striking, but right after 9/11, it became New York City. You got as a result of trying to lift the world through New York, because everybody who ever been somebody that got a little bit of bread has come there. Whether it was for a day, they stopped off at the airport, talked to their mans for 2 hours and got on the next plane and never came back. Everybody want to make a claim and say they've been to New York in my life or whatever, you know, even if they just to see it. The point I'm making is, how did we feel about that song when it was about North Carolina and then when it switched to New York City?
That must have been the Bronx. So we wasn't singing that shit.
Actually, I was living in Florida at the time when that happened, so I don't know what was happening in New York. Go ahead, Brother Chad.
So for me, I was outside and I was back and forth to North Carolina, and that was right before I got jammed up. So that song, it was like seeing other parts of the South really plant their flag. you know, because it was big in North Carolina, particularly because I was going back and forth to North Carolina at the time. You know, my grandfather was still alive, you know, and my father was still living in North Carolina at the time. So it was my father, my uncles, and my grandfather, the men of my family. You know, this is before a few of them transitioned. So that was always a family thing. In fact, right before I got jammed up, we all got together because my grandmother's brother, my Uncle Big Joe, had passed. So the family was all together. That was like in April of 2001. Then in September, my uncle got married in North Carolina. So we were all down there just having a good time. And then October, I got swept up off the streets. And yeah, so that PD Pablo hit different because North Carolina was like our little escape. It was like a little 7-hour drive, get out the hood real quick. The cousins be like, yo, let's go down south. And we go down there, you know, and be together as a family. So yeah, that song meant something to me. That North Carolina, but it really didn't get that much play up here then.
I played North Carolina. We had North Carolina up here. We would take your shirt off.
But Marcel's a little older than us, though.
Huh?
No, I'm saying it wasn't played like in North Carolina.
Yeah, at the time I was living in Orlando, Florida, it was playing like crazy down there. Both of them.
They played, but down south it was like a Jay-Z song.
Well, but I don't know this New York version that Black is talking about. I don't think
after 9/11.
We wasn't listening to that in Brooklyn. We were or Queens either. It's the Bronx. I'm telling you. They
I was in Orlando, Florida at the time. I already said it.
You still got your Bronx mentality.
We wasn't listening to that.
The craziest people live in the Bronx and Florida. That's it. All the crazy people.
That's it. Not too right. You know what I'm saying? They not.
You said one borough and the whole state.
Because you fit in both.
You gotta stay mute. Shout out to Sister Pat. She said Tracy Lloyd from Little Anthony and the Imperials is related to my family. I got a story to tell you about Little Anthony, Sister Pat. Remind me to tell you that when I see you, as it relates to one of my aunts. But K Rush said, "Go, yeah, yeah, it is."
I didn't particularly love the song. I was trying to contrast the time between the two songs, pre 9/11 and post 9/11. That was the point. It wasn't about the song was all right. I don't love it or hate it. I told you I was living in Florida at the time. I heard it a million times a day. So that's why I asked that question, because I wasn't in New York and I wanted to know the climate of how that changed the trajectory of the song. Because it was like it was a hit, but it wasn't like crazy. But after the New York version came out, Brother Pat said,
I don't know what you heard.
Man, come on. You heard that song before, trust me.
You muted, because we wasn't listening to that. I don't
know. It was in the violin.
Maybe in the Bronx. That wasn't flying here. Trust me.
I was
playing out with all the DJs. They wasn't playing that. I'm telling you. They wasn't playing that. So I don't know what you're talking about, Black. Sorry, Marcia. Go ahead.
No, I was just telling you I was playing the violin for him because we don't know what he's talking about. He needs to go to sleep.
I was living in Florida at that time. I'm not going to say it no more.
We do not care.
The Trick Daddy.
You have been deleted and rebuked. Okay? In the name of good gospel, I rebuke thy Bronx. We are not going with no t-shirt, Petey Pablo, waving nothing. Any dude I was dating waving a white beater in the air, you is zesty. And I'm gonna have my dudes beat you up. So anyway, period. I'm telling my cousins, meet me downstairs, tear him to pieces, and rob him at the same time. But anyway, moving on, because we have to talk about this. So again, family, get ready for next week. We want to know all your favorite music, your genres, all of that. Next week, we're going to go into a heavy. So coming up June 11th, 4 to 8 p.m. at the Schomburg Center for Research and Black Culture in Harlem is another New York reparation public hearing. Sister Brooke, you noticing they getting all these speakers to come in now. I think they trying to pull people who will try to sway us, foundational Black Americans, to be inclusive of everybody. It's not going to happen. And look who they got presenting. Now, hold on, let me scroll down here. Dr. Craig Carr from Howard University, Africana Studies. Didn't he get reamed on social media already? Like, Dr. Ray Winbush, he too got reamed on social media. Let me tell you, staunch Pan-African is something. Do not come to this hearing talking that stuff. Because if you do, Ron Daniels barely made it out a few meetings before. I think it was in Queens. He barely made it out with his life. So I'm trying to tell y'all, don't come with that old dumb rhetoric, because we're not playing with you. We are not playing with you. And one of the things why I stressed enough to research your family's history, because it hits different when you can actually hold the bill of sale to your ancestors. See, people look at reparations and slavery far off, distant. It's not connected to them. That's why all of these folks have you studying certain things instead of your own goddamn self. I'm sorry. It hits different. I don't want none of these bastards advocating for me and my family, because you don't know what my ancestor went through. These bastards, they can talk all they want when it comes to Pan-Africanism and all of that somewhere else. But when it comes to lineage-based reparations, we don't want to hear that. So I'll be there about 5:15. All right? I'll be there because it's going to take me that long. I got another thing to do early in the day. But I'll be there by 5:15. Now, last meeting, they had Bria Baker on there, author Bria Baker. I think the book is called Rooted Lands or something like that. I listened to it on audio before. But anyway, so if you want to be a speaker to give testimony, when you enter the building, there's going to be a sign-in sheet at the desk. Make sure you put your name on that list or your name will not be called. All right? When you get up to speak, you have 3 minutes, not 35. They're going to cut you off in 3 minutes. So whatever it is you have to say, get it done in 3 minutes or less. I want y'all to continue to check the description of Thorough Black Talk, because every week we put it in the link where you could join the email writing campaign to stop this bill as it is, because it is flawed and unconstitutional and it will not work, nor has it ever. It must be lineage based, specifically for the descendants of freedmen. It can't be all willy-nilly. Now, when we get our bread in every other country, we can show you how to do it. Till then, either you're on call with us or you're an adversary. And it's getting hot. Summer's steadily approaching. Some of y'all might get pulled up on, because this is how serious it is. Until you have the bill of sale for your ancestors, don't tell me a goddamn thing. Nothing. If you can't show me where your ancestors' properties, deeds, businesses stolen by Urugu, you can't tell me nothing. Until you can show me a certificate from the African American Civil War Museum, you can't tell me nothing. Nothing. You can't advocate jack for me. So, let me get off my soapbox. I hope that we see y'all at the Schomburg Center for Research and Black Culture in Harlem. That's next Wednesday, June 11th, 4 to 8 p.m. Next Wednesday, June 11th, 4 to 8 p.m. I hope we see y'all in the place. So, moving right along, last week, Brother Divine dropped it. Sister Brooke brought us the exclusive. Last week, he talked about the 15 Caribbean organizations, Latino, and other organizations that didn't even return his phone call. when he asked for support on lineage-based reparations. So tonight, then he gonna talk about some legacy organizations that, a lot of us know here in New York that you heard Sister Keisha tell y'all about many times on this platform and others. But now we're going to have Brother Divine Prince, the president of the U.S. Freedmen Project, to tell y'all exactly what went down so that you are well aware of what's happening coming next week at the Schomburg Research and History Museum. Here we go. Let's play this. Give me a second. Bada bing. All right. Here we go. We started talking about education programs and housing programs and all of this old kind of stuff. So I let them shoot their spill. But when it was my turn to speak, I just let them know that this was unacceptable. Now, again, this was the screening of Judas and the Black Messiah. I don't know what year that was. But so they got a little bit upset because, I was shooting down their arguments. It got to the point where I had to let them know that this conversation was over and they had no standard to advocate for anybody. So that was that. But yeah, that was that with the Senate talk. Ron Daniels, is a part of. This is what he's always been doing. Always looking out for himself.
Wow. Sidebar, guys, and this, this is a green room conversation, but y'all know I don't know what I'm doing. So, how you put y'all names up here, because I don't want this to hold
for the descendants, but always program based.
Yep. Right. Because so that leads me perfect segue, and I feel like you set me up for that. You know what I mean? So my next question is, so the first draft of this bill, you mentioned, I've heard you mention before that there were some things in the bill. It seemed like, people had their grubby little fingers trying to, get some of the money off the top, not even, scooping it, like sneaking it out. Or no, they was trying to put it in the bill. Now, I heard you mention that. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah. So, and I just want to finish my other thought from the last question before we segue to what Daniel is. So they held a Twitter space, Assemblymember Salages, Assemblymember Taylor Darling, who's no longer there, and Jam Ayuar, who is with the NBCI Trust. She was just on Van Lathan's, not to plug anybody else's podcast, she was just on another podcast speaking about how reparations should be for the entire diaspora. So this is still something that they're pushing even now, even with this Foundational Black American Renaissance. So we have to be aware of that. And so even then, back then, that was who they were and still doing that. And so they held a Twitter space where they talked about why the bill was a good. Now, this is after our conversation, right? And saying we had to see the table. They still pushed this bill that they knew was unconstitutional and that had said, oh, there we go. You got it. Segue to your question. Not only was it an unconstitutional bill, not only was it a race-based bill, not only was it reparations filtered through a Pan-Africanist lens, their ideology and what I call their religion, they had 3 Pan-African organizations baked into the crust. And so,
what you mean by that? What explain exactly what you mean by that.
So the first iteration of this reparations bill, which was authored by Charles Barron, shout out to Charles Barron. I agree with everything he's done, but he has done some good work to get shouted out for his community, for his people, for our people. And so that first iteration had NARC/ and COBRA written into the bill, IBW 21 written into the bill, and the December 12th movement written into the bill.
Who? December who?
The December
Hold up. Sister Keisha, what organization did you say Dr. Ron Daniels was a part of?
Now, did y'all hear that? National Action Network, December 12th movement, IBW 21, tried to draft themselves into the goddamn bill so that they can get money and do whatever they want with it in the name of reparations. You see this BS? Sister Pat said, did anybody reach out to Gloria J. Brown Marshall? Sis, we're going to play a little bit more. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this. We're going to play a little more and come right back. Here we go.
Come through. Give receipts. I didn't even know. Go ahead.
Did you what you said? What you said over there, Sister Keisha? Okay, so he's a part of the December 12th. I distinctly remember you saying that just a few moments before Divine let us know. So now isn't it? I know, like, I'm not like the brightest bulb in the shed. But don't you think it might be like a conflict of interest?
Come on.
To like have a person who would benefit from the bill on the commission to make recommendations for the money? You know, like I said, I'm not a genius. I'm not a political strategist, but I was just wondering if anybody thought that sounds funny. Anyone?
Not only did we think it sounded funny, we knew it was funny. And so we had no idea how to stop it at this time. You know, again, we just everyday Black Americans walking off the street, figuring out that something needs to be wrong. But we're like, this has to violate some law, some ethics, something. We know that politics is corrupt, right? But it's like something has to be able to be done because this is egregious, right? And this is blatant.
But that was before the commission was even together.
Yes, right. This is the bill as it's moving through the legislature. It has
so you're telling me I'm I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
So you're telling me that the politicians that signed off on a bill that was unconstitutional, that they were fully knowledgeable was unconstitutional. Not only was it unconstitutional, it had corruption baked in the bill. And then they figured it out, at least the corruption part, because this is not the current bill that we've been fighting. Correct?
Right.
But they removed those entities from the bill, from the crust of the bill, as you were talking about earlier. So
yes and no. I'll say yes and no.
Okay. They took the organizations out, correct?
Yes and no. I'm gonna let you cook,
okay.
but I wanna make the distinction because it's important.
All right. Well, but then so they recognized that was not a good idea. But then they put the person from the organization that they removed from the bill onto the commission. Make that make sense.
Y'all hear this? Y'all hear this? Why have we been telling y'all? Shout out to Sister Pat, UAM Finest on the check-in. She says some of y'all don't know all of the groups that the brother stated are all part of the civil rights movement. They come with a hand out for the Democratic Party to keep us at bay. Period. And you can tell them I said it. Sister Pat said those groups are sabotage that have no ethics. I'm telling you, these are saboteurs. Saboteurs. But let's see what the Freedmen Project did. Hold on. Here we go.
Gatekeeper.
So here's the distinction I want to make, because you said you were in, I know you a lovely young, flower, right? In this whole process. And you're giving them way too much credit. You said they figured it out. You said they removed them. That's not what happened. They figured out that we figured it out.
I
And
like
then they were forced to remove it.
Okay.
Because our first major movement as an organization was to start a public facing call to action. And this is where I first met a lot of the people that I still know and work with today that were on Twitter that we hadn't got a chance to meet personally or in person. And we took it to the family, used Twitter Space again, that just came out. So this is like in its early days. And we said, hey, family, in New York, outside of New York, look what they're trying to do. They have 3 organizations that if this bill passes, the Pan-Africans will have carte blanche over not only what the commission says and does, but any of the recommendations, meaning they get to control what reparations is, who reparations potentially go to, and what it looks like. Because the original bill called for a 11-person task force. And in the bill, it stated that each organization, again, NARC / and Cobra, I know there's 2 separate organizations, but I call them the same thing.
Right.
The IBW 21, which again is kind of the same thing, but that's another organization.
Right.
And then the December 12th movement. Each of those organizations would get 2 picks apiece. So we're not talking about experts. We're not talking about scholars. Some of them are scholars. I'm not going to take too much away from them, but we're not talking about experts in the reparatory justice field. We're talking about any people from their organization that they want to appoint. And so you have 3, each gets 2, easy math, 3 times 2 is 6. It's an 11-person commission. So 6 automatically gives them the majority, which is the quorum, to make whatever decision they make. So the other 5, whoever they was going to be, are irrelevant. Because all 6 of these are on one accord, because all 3 of those organizations are connected, if not the same organization, under different names. And
so how did you fight this? How did you overcome this?
The family. And this was my first introduction to, when people say power to the people, this was my introduction in real time, not reading it in a book, but real time. We got online, we made the petition, because it was just us, right? Again, we're the only organization fighting for this. Not only are the Pan-Africans united on this, because we're not going to leave them out, but they're not alone. All of our legacy organizations are right in step with them. So we talk about lockstep. We talk about the NAACP. We talk about Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. We talk about the Urban League, right? All these organizations are right in line with the Pan-Africans for different reasons, maybe, but still the same. They are in lockstep fighting for race-based policies and this order of kickbacks and stuff like that. They're all complicit.
So I find that interesting because people tend to only focus on when our opposition is someone of a different ethnic group.
Right.
I don't think people realize how hard we have to fight against some of our own sometimes. But it does not matter who is in our way. You're getting mowed down. I don't care if you our lineage or not.
That's right.
Whoever it is, we're taking you out as fast as possible. So I don't want to glaze over that. I want people to understand. Yeah, we fighting the NAACP,
Yes,
the National Action Network. These are our own. This is our blood.
that's right.
But we gonna fight them too. Everybody can get the smoke.
Mm-hmm. Our fight.
Everybody can get it.
Mm-hmm. Our fight is ready to eat for everyone.
That's right.
If you oppose
Everybody will catch these freedmen hands.
I heard the warrior scholar say, you either get down or you lay down. And so
That's right.
And
that's what it is right now with our reparations. Either you
right.
get down or you lay down.
I mean, whatever one you want to choose is your choice. But there's no other choices but those two. And and so we went to the family. To make this long story shorter, we went on. We organized in the neighborhoods, in our communities, and offline, and then online. We got all the people that were willing to listen to whatever we had to say. We did a space. That space was still one of our largest. I think we had like 700 people come through that space and or re-listen to it. And we just shared with the family what was going on. Here's what they're trying to do. Help us. Contact your local politician. Contact a politician that's next door to your district. Contact people that ain't your politician. Contact everybody. Let them know that we know. And because this is what we thought. This was our calculus. And this is still the same calculus we work on today. We didn't know if we was going to be able to stop this bill or stop the bill at all. But what we wanted them to know is that we know. And so that if you still go through with this, then we are going to be able to enact whatever political consequences that we can enact at that point in time. Here's the beautiful thing about this is that since then we've gotten bigger and we've gotten stronger. And so the political consequences that we can enact are bigger and better than they were back then. And we are in an upward trajectory. So 2 years from now, our political consequences will be bigger and better than they are today.
That's right.
And so back then we were like, listen, whatever consequence we can enact, if you decide to ignore us and still do this thing that we all know is wrong, then we will enact those consequences. But in real time, we reached out to enough people, enough of the decision makers, and they were like, nah, we can't let this bill pass. So it did pass in the assembly, right? So it has to pass
the first version with
this bill that we're talking about right now, with them baked into the crust, with those
with those
organizations written into the bill. The New York State Assembly passed that bill. They voted on it and said, yes, we want this to be the reparations bill. We got into enough conversations with New York State senators at the time. And what helped us also was Jabari Brisport, who was a Democrat socialist. You know, he started doing some other stuff with Palestine, and you know, they be all over the place with their POC coalitions. And so he made somebody mad, and he was the senator, the author of the bill in the Senate. And so in conjunction with that, with us reaching out to these decision makers in the Senate and the Assembly, it got shot down in the Senate, and unless it passes both the House and the Senate, the bill is dead. So that bill was dead on arrival, and we killed it as a family, not the U.S. Freedom Project. All of us as a family got together and flexed our political muscle and said, no, we're not going to stand for this or sit idly by. And so that bill got scrapped. And the next session, we, again, not knowing anything, but seeing what was going on in California and around the country, we were like, you know what? Since we got this one thrown out and it's dead, they might try to reintroduce it. But why don't we just write a bill? Now that was pie in the sky, like big goal, right? Because none of us knew how to write a bill. We didn't know what we was doing. So we was like, but maybe we can.
Right.
And that was our next step, our next evolution as an organization, because we indeed wrote a bill.
Okay. And that's definitely not the current version that we got right now.
Not at all. It was a constitutionally sound bill. It clearly defined the community of eligibility, who are us, the freedmen. And we also, in that bill, demanded a state-level Freedmen's Bureau be instituted. Immediately as the bill passed, we gave the commission a robust and realistic budget so that it would be well known all over the country. They wouldn't have to nickel and dime looking for places to be. It will be covered by the media at all levels. They would have a fully staffed, like a fully staffed staff, for lack of a better term. But it gave them all the bells and whistles for a serious task force if you're serious about getting this thing right. And that's what our bill did. And in opposition to the bill that we introduced, oh no, we didn't introduce it yet, that we were shopping around at the time, they then amended the old bill to the one that we see today, and they took out all the organizations, changed it from an 11-person to a 9-person, the format that we have right now. And because in the beginning they weren't taking us serious, right? This is what I was saying, like we got a chance when people have spun the block, but back then we were nobodies. We were just a new kid on the block. Nobody knew us. We're trying to get politicians to take our bill serious, and nobody would take it serious. And so they were like, well, this is going nowhere. They just wrote us off, and they were pushing the bill that we see today. But we were still educating, taking meetings, letting people know, no, this bill, it's great that you took the organizations out, but you just took a knife that was in my back 9 inches out and took it out 2 to 3 inches. It's still unconstitutional. It's still a bad bill. Right. And so we were having those conversations at the same time. And again, just how God, the ancestors, whatever you choose to believe in, because we believe that this is divine work that we are undertaking. Out of nowhere, we found a champion in the New York State Assembly, and that champion is still a champion that we rock with today. And her name is Assembly Member Nikki Lucas from District 60 out there in East New York.
I don't have no sound effects, but we gotta stop him.
And she took
Give
that
her a
bill
round of
and said,
applause.
I'm bringing it
because
to the floor.
she has been. She put FBA on her back, and she just like, what? You know what I'm saying? All solo dolo. She
pause, y'all. Pause. Because we definitely gotta continue next week with this program here. But that was a lot. A lot of information revealed, confirmation. But for those of you who don't understand, when I said a lot of work is being done behind the scenes, you just don't know about it. You didn't know about it. Freedmen Project rewrote the bill, right? Gave it to, listen, it's so much going on. I can only tell y'all a little bit at a time as these things happen. But you heard it for yourself. All of these legacy Black organizations in it for themselves try to steal our birthright. How do you know? Listen, as Brother Divine and Sister Brooke was mentioned, shout out to them again for this expose. But as they mentioned, these folks know what they're doing. It's not by accident they trying to steal it. Now, Brother Tab was there. Sister Brooke is in the chat. When I mentioned to Ron Brown a certain name, his face went down.
Yeah.
A frown. I mentioned that name so I can let him know I see you. Without telling his business, I see you. See, when those of us who came up in the movement, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, we know certain things. We was in certain rooms to see certain things, to hear certain things. A long time ago, going back to the 90s, we told y'all about these groups. We warned y'all. There's a short sister, I forget her name, Brooke. What's that short lady name that come and speak for National Action Network all the time? Who gets on my last nerve. But again, it's no shots to individuals. We have a lot of individuals who are on code. We're talking about organizations. One thing that Dr. Fillet put in the chat, I got to address this. She says, I hope that folks will in the future not lump all Africanists in the same boat with the ones mentioned in this dialogue. There are several different schools of thought, ideology, etc. Got it. Got it. As we said many times on this platform, there are individuals who adapt this ideology or these ideologies who are on code. But there's not one organization from the diaspora anywhere on code for lineage-based reparations in New York, in California, in Boston, in Detroit, in Maryland. Find one. Show me one. Who, as Brother Divine said, mentioned not one response. He sent it to 50. Not one response. So when we say this, we're not talking about individuals who are not on code. Not doing that. That's not at all what we're saying here. So I don't want people to get confused. In reparations, in the United States of America, it's against the law to make it race-based. Race is a thought process or an ideology, whether you adopt it or not. In the courts, it has no standing. So, as legal minds have advised, as legal minds have already done, gave us the blueprint of what we must do going forward. It cannot be reparations in the United States, cannot and should not be group-based because you identify as a Pan-Africanist. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. Just like you can say that all you want and identify that all you want, but if you go to Kenya and there's reparations for Kenyans, that don't include you. So you can call whatever you want to call. And I think people getting things mixed up. And that's why I say a lot of y'all have to be in certain spaces so you can start to understand certain things. Because I can't bring it all to you. You know, like the other night, me and Sister Brooke, it was in a space and it went on, I think, like 1 a.m. But if you're not familiar with these things, then you don't know. Like a lot of people, you know, I see on social media come with this same question or response that Dr. Fillet has put up. And I asked them, where were you getting the information from? Do you understand what we're saying? Or you don't? Just say you don't. And then we can explain it to you. It's just like tether. Everybody who was Caribbean or African said they be calling you tethers. That's not what we said. That's not what tether means. We talking to the coons of your group, the sellouts of your group, those who are not on code of your group. Just like for us, we call them coons and sellouts and all that. For y'all, it's tethers. That's it. Everybody ain't a tether. If you on code and you rocking with us, you rocking. That's it. So you could be a Pan-Africanist all you want. We don't care. You can be whatever you want, but you have to be on code with lineage-based reparations. Because anything outside of that, even Johnny Cochran himself said the same thing. Before his passing, when he decided to take up the fight, it cannot be broad-based like that. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said the exact same thing. We can't lump everybody up. Go to Britain and get your reparations. Go to the French and get your reparations. Belgians, the Spanish, the Dutch, whoever, go to them for your reparations. Follow the blueprint that we're giving you. Because when we succeed, and we are getting close, we starting to flip senators. That's another thing y'all don't know about. Senators are being flipped because people are out here working. So we're going to reveal all of this stuff, you know, as we need to, because certain things we can't tell. So I just hope, everybody has a little bit of understanding of what we mean. We are protecting our freedmen class. We are protecting our lineage. You cannot come from the Congo and say you created hip hop. You can't come from Lagos and say you created the Philly sound. You're a goddamn liar. So some of these things are happening. So this is why you see the pushback and the blowback. What we say to all of you, go to your groups, your families, your friends, get them on code. Because as somebody put in the chat, I think Sister Farnessa, yeah, she says, sounds like it's about to be another pull-up summer. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Sister Brooke had to pull up on somebody. I told y'all that. People are not playing, and we don't want this to get out of hand. We are mirroring each other. We are family. It's just that some cousins are retarded, and you got to keep them over there with their retarded mama and retarded drunk daddy. So they got to stay over there. They can't come over here. If your mama's the crackhead like Taz said, that's how she run it in your house. But you can't come to my house with your crackhead mama and gonna tell me how to run my house. When it comes to upliftment and support in a Pan-Africanist mindset, we have done way more than those of the continent or the diaspora have done for us. We have done way more. It's not balanced. It's not fair. And so they need to clean it up. And this is what Tad, myself, Brother Quasi, and others tried to bring forth in 2016. A code of conduct is just not between me and you. A code of conduct is between societies and nations. And just like you can't get off a plane here without a visa from another country because they're going to send you back. And vice versa. There are codes of conduct. Certain countries you can go to, if you say one curse word, you're going to jail. Here is a different story. Different. And that's okay. But you are not going to come in my house and tell me how to run my house with your ideology. Doesn't work. It's never going to work. Just like we can't go to any African country, from Burundi. Burundi is the poorest nation on the planet is Burundi. Don't believe me? Look it up. With all of their poverty, we can't go in there and say we Pan-Africanists and we going to run this like Brooklynites or people from Philadelphia. You can't do that. But nobody has the same kind of respect and poise for us. Now you're getting pushback because it has to be cleaned up. That's why the movement failed. That's why leaders get caught up in foolishness. There is no code of conduct. People coming on reckless with all their ideologies. I don't care what you believe. But when we doing this work, this is what it is. It's the same when you go to a job. They don't care if you Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or as Tad said, worship the head of lettuce. That's your business. But when we hire you to do this job from 9 to 5, that's what we expect. Keep your personal ideologies and belief at the door. It's the same thing for culture. It's the same. I have traveled. I have never disrespected another country's culture. But people could come here and disrespect Black Americans every day. And all throughout all of these movements, whether 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, nobody's checked this behavior. Again, I said the only person who vaguely mentioned it somewhat was Shashi McIntyre. And they try to come for it. We have to do things differently. It's a new renaissance that's happening. And some people going to get run over. Some people going to get mauled over. Too bad. This is what it is. Definitely, Dr. Filet, definitely. But not just you, but I just want everybody to understand because things are being said that nobody knows what the hell they talking about. Period. You're just going off of some words you heard on a video. You don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Let me get off of that. Get off of that. Sorry. About the information that Brother Divine let us know about. Sister Marcia, your thoughts on these organizations that Brother Divine revealed about who were the saboteurs for freedom reparations.
Well, let's remember that half of these organizations are 501(c)(3)s. So their allegiance will never be for the independence of Black folks because they have someone who's making sure the electricity is on. In terms of CARICOM and AFRICOM, they're also getting money from the man. They were even created by the man. So where would they have independence for themselves? I think the fight.
Question. Sorry, I just want to understand. When you said they were created by the man, could you expound? Go ahead.
These government entities, these white folks that want to maintain control and still give the illusion that you are of control. So we are still in the illusion of inclusion. And until we could get that out of our mindset, until people could really see that they have to work independently. And I think, even Africans on the Rise, we face a lot of pushbacks. We want to do programs in certain, um, we want to do programs with the DOE. The DOE says to you, well, if you're not a 501(c)(3), we don't know how we can fund you. You can fund me as an independent organization. I should not need to be a 501(c)(3). I have all the proper tax papers to run the program in your institution. Why must I be a 501(c)(3)? So these are the loopholes that they put around us. They try to stifle us. They try to handcuff us in many different ways so that we cannot produce independently. And most of these organizations fall in line because they are out here for the dollars more than they are out here for their cause. Their mission statement sounds spectacular. You'll read some of these mission statements and you're like, yeah, this one is this organization. And then when you go and try to partner with this organization, they'll tell you, well, if the only way for we to funnel money or to give you money or to pay you out, you also have to be part of this title to get funding. And so until we get out of the dependency, the welfare of the government or whatever institution it is, we're going to be we're going to hold ourselves back. So this is 501(c)(3) is a different type of welfare that we're not looking at in its proper order. The churches are in line with it. So that's why the churches aren't as grassroots as they were 50 years ago. We can't have a deacon of defense. We can't have certain entities because they are getting money from these political entities, so they can't support us the way that they should.
My question is this. In 2025, June 5th, why do people still bring them around? See, I don't trust y'all either. I don't. You all suspect too. And that's why I keep my distance, because a lot of people are suspect. I'm not rocking with that. And I want us to focus on these three organizations because they have been problematic for some time. And a lot of people have let things slide. This is why I'm saying it has to be a code of conduct. But, I don't know. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Brother Tad, let's get to our final thoughts and comments. I want to know your take first on the information that was revealed by Brother Devon and Sister Brooke. And then after that, we'll move to Brother Black for his final thoughts and commentary.
All right, it's pretty much what you just said. Why do these people bring these people around? I came into the movement through Dr. Khalid. December 12th was the first organization that I officially joined. One thing I realized about the organizations, a lot of them don't get along. It's funny how now I'm fresh, I'm green, I don't know no better. I'm thinking we all want the same thing. I'm thinking unity because every organization is hollering unity. But once you get in the inner circle, you realize this group don't like that group and this group don't like that group. And again, people are trying to thwart other people's efforts when I thought the mission was to get us all free, to be in alignment that we can get our compensation and go live our lives fruitfully and freely, like all of our organizations said that we about Black liberation. So with that, this is one of the reasons I left the organization in the 90s because I was still in my 20s back in the 90s. You know, so I come back in the movement in the 2000s, thinking that it should be a vanguard. It should be a new vanguard. That things will change, and I see that things have not changed. And even within in 2000, some of the same old faces are around. They don't want to pass the. They don't want to pass the baton. They don't want to relinquish leadership to the new folks. And the rhetoric is stale. There is no movement. I never seen a movement that was so stagnant, and when you look at our folks, when you look at the community, we're actually regressing. Where are the community organizations that profess to be about the people when things happen in our community? Where are they? They're in front of the cameras on the news, but they're not in the street. Case in point, when we were in Straight Black Pride and the minister was touching the child, we were out there. Nobody stood out there with us to just to confront the predators, bring awareness, let it be known that we're not tolerating this. Nobody stood with us. And we was tagging everybody, we was posting it, we just letting the people know, like, yo, this is what's going on over here. We have to protect the children. But if you in the business of Black folks and you ain't in the business of helping and protecting Black folks, I just don't trust you. And that's why I rock who I rock with and rock how I rock. I worry about me, my children, my circle, and my village. That's it. All that other stuff, I'm not with the rhetoric. I'm going to say this one last point. I remember years ago, Sister Keisha, when we was doing something at Nicholas, and I said I don't protect all Black women. When I got off, Brother Quasey's like, how could you say that? I said, because all of them are not worthy of my protection. I said, there are some women out here that live to start trouble. I'm old enough to have seen it.
Uh-oh, Brother Ty froze up. There you go. You back?
Oh, I'm back?
You back.
No. All right. I told Brother Quasey, I've lived long enough to see it. They will start trouble with one brother against another. One get deleted, the other get incarcerated, and next summer she's back to the same antics. It's not worth my attention or protection. I got real family members that need me. I can't be out here getting involved in everybody's foolishness because some people, I don't care how big their medallion is, how shiny their copper jewelry is, how many prints are on their dashikis. Under that is still some Negroism. And we got to separate the real from the fake. When I was in Africa, right, and we went to go meet the chief, shout out to Mama Arlene. She was like, Tad, you can't wear your hat. You got to take your hat off when you meet the chief. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, yo, this is who I am, Mama Arlene. They going to have to accept that. We got there. The chief was like, nah, he good. Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to see Brother Chad running around with a kufi. I mean, I ain't knocking it. I might do it one day for a get up. If it's a celebration or a ceremony, I'll do it. But on the day to day, you gonna catch me with this on. On the day to day, you gonna catch me with my NY hat on. Why? Because I got to be true to myself, and that's one of the things about the movement. And not to knock Pan Africanism, and make this one last point. It's like when you subscribe to Pan Africanism, you act like you're subordinate to Africa and Africans. You put them up here and you down here, and you trying to be more African than them. And they look at you like you cosplaying. And that's just a fact. But with that, I'm off my soapbox. I just love being me. Brother Tad from Brooklyn.
That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm talking about? I ain't got to say nothing else. He said it all. Brother Black, your final thoughts and commentary. Let's get the people out of here.
Okay. Y'all ever heard of Noel Pointer? He was, I believe, a flutist in Brooklyn, and he passed away at a very young age. I remember I used to talk to people about him, and most of them were from Brooklyn. He was a very humble dude. His mother was a music teacher, and I think we just need to mention him because he's somebody that kind of got. He was between that era when it went from tapes to mostly CDs, stuff like that, and then he passed away shortly after. So, but he would have been known like Najee or any of those great instrumentalists that we all know who he is and we know his music very well. From Brooklyn as well. I don't remember what, I think Crown Heights or
No, point up.
yeah.
Okay.
You know him, Brother Ted?
No.
Okay. Sister Keisha shook her head like she knew who I was talking about. I just wanted to bring that up I wanted to bring it up earlier, but I wrote it down so I could bring it up now. There was $12 trillion worth of gold found in Uganda the other day. I saw something, I tagged you guys in it too on Facebook. There was another article that said that they found 16 sextillions, that's 6 sets of zeros. So more than $1 trillion of gold somewhere in Hawaii, but it's so low they can't get to it, but they know it's there. If they know it's there, then that means they can create the technology to get it. But they're not gonna make it because of this flash that we're gonna have this year. There's such a thing called windburn. I don't know if y'all been hearing about it. It's kind of, if you hashtag it or you look it up on AI or Wikipedia or whatever, it's supposed to be sunburn, but from the wind, and it looks different because it looks like it's scratching your face, like you got eczema or something like that. This is mostly affecting those without melanin. Very serious condition. It's been going around for a minute. That's because the winds, sometimes when it's super windy, those are solar winds. Those are not winds from, the atmosphere and the mountains and the ocean currents and all that. Those are different type of winds coming along with the solar flares as they hit the earth and affecting what's called the Schumann resonance. Look out for the weather to be crazy. We've been hearing about earthquakes, volcanoes everywhere. I told y'all last week that the Cascadia subduction zone may blow today. We still got, it's on the west coast. It's still a few hours behind. I hope not. And the 5th could mean the 6th, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 15th, 28th, on and on and on. One more thing, like Sister Keisha said earlier, I believe, don't let these psyops distract you as far as the court cases and all the dumb shit. Don't worry about that. Just live your life, drink water, hug your moms, and just be as righteous as possible. My name is Brother Blacksmith. We did Black Music Month this month. That's my book background behind me. It says Boom Bye Bye Hip Hop Will Never Die, exposed the music industry up to about 10, 15 years ago. And if you want to purchase my book, I'm Basil Medina on Facebook. I'm going to go with that. Much love to the panel. Much love to y'all listening out there. And much love to y'all listening in the future. Peace and love. One. I'm out.
Black, you've been doing good. I ain't have to give you the womp lately.
I'm disappointed in you, brother.
There you go. That's what you wanted. Can't even give him his props. Can't even give my brother his props.
He doesn't want them.
He can't help it. Before we go to Sister Marcia, for the viewing audience, I've already dropped the link to 5 books that you can download for free and read at your own leisure. All of these books deal with the recent subjects that we have been discussing. Next week, I'll drop another 5, and then another 5, and another 5, until we're at the end of the month. Go ahead, Sister Marcia, your final thoughts and commentary.
I'm an orange moon. Shout out to Mama's Gun. That's my favorite song off of that, and Bag Lady, but I've released my bags. This was a really thought-provoking conversation. Let's just remember that the men's out there, the white men's, will always dangle money in front of you. So if you want to remain autonomous, you have to look for your community, and your community must believe in you strong enough that you don't have to go to the white man to make sure your lights are still on. I think that is, it goes back to our conversation, Sister Keisha, to how the consciousness, the consciousness. At one time, you said in Garvey's writing, he said the American Black consciousness was so high that they would do blah, 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 blah. And now this is what we're facing. Both the Pan-Africans and the Americans' consciousness. Everyone's consciousness is on anxiety, like Brother Black wanted to bring up earlier, on Dochi style. And we need to get back to ourselves and really formulate a plan so that we can fund our revolution. We can't depend on other people to fund our revolution. It takes step by step. And if we're supporting one group of getting access to stuff, this is what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to diminish other people's access to reparations or anything else. So with that said, I want to bid everyone a fantastic weekend. It is going to be nice and hot in New York. Go out, go dancing, go to an art show, go do something fabulous for yourself and love on yourself, because you are all you have first. And then it is the community. So be good to each other. May time flourish. And if it may not, make it flourish, because it's all up to you. Peace.
All right. I just want to tell everybody, tune in every Sunday, 2 p.m. to the OG Wisdom Podcast, me and my brother C. Gutter. Don't forget to check out Doggy Diamonds. Shout out to everybody that came over from Doggy Diamonds, all of his mods that's in the building, and everybody he sent our way. We definitely appreciate that. Get a lot of water this weekend. Eat a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Hug the people you love, and try to stay cool. Do a nice little mile a day. Do a mile every day for the month of June. Me, I'm doing at least 3 to 5 miles every day. But let's focus on our fitness and our wellness. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Family. Brother Rich Nice, I reposted that last book, so hopefully you can get the link. If not, next week I will do it again for you. Thank each and every one of you for coming out and rocking with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. It goes down here every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Remember, don't get caught up in nostalgia. Don't get caught up in what if. The movement is going along just fine. You are so addicted to familiarity that didn't work. It's almost cultish in your approach. And, I always said that early days of UAM, I don't like a cult-like atmosphere. If I tell somebody to do something, it's a problem. But if Alton tell them, they'll do it. You're a cultist. That's what you are. I'm not a cultist. We have to get out of that. We have to do things differently. And just for the record, I want no part of anything different, because we have to move differently these days. But I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm glad y'all liked it. Next week, part 2, Black Music History Month, along with what's going on at Reparations. We will have a full report of what went down the Wednesday prior. So, y'all have a good rest of the week. Keep your head on the swivel. And remember, true courage is knowing how to suffer. The battlefield is where you stand. Good night, family. We are out.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, Voice is strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air. Changing minds, changing flair. From brother Tad to sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat. Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power media on the spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned. Breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics. Every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true. For the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics. Every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true. For the many, not the few. Revolutionary ways.